The #1 rock countdown in North America. The LA Lloyd Rock 30.
Hey, it is LA Lloyd, and today is the first time for Plush to co-host the Rock 30. I'm very excited because I've got all four members. Typically, it's usually a one-on-one, but today I've got all four of you. So first of all, thanks for being here, and let's go around the room and all of you introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us. My name is Moriah Formica, and I am the lead singer / rhythm guitarist for Plush.
I'm Bella Perron. I'm the lead guitarist for Plush.
I'm Brooke Calucci, and I'm the drummer for Plush.
I'm Ashley Suppa, and I'm the bassist for Plush.
All right. Well, I got to tell you, man, we got a lot to cover today as we get to know a lot of you better. I was really impressed the first time I ever heard the song Hate, and have been wanting to get you on the show. I know the question, all female, all under 21, has been, beat into the dirt to death. So we've got that out of the way. But, what I did want to do is just kind of get the quick version of how all four of you kind of got together and eventually got Plush together and now working on the new album.
Yeah, so Brooke and I actually initially met, and I found her on social media, and then our dads got in contact through a mutual venue that we both played, and we just ended up kind of jamming because it just so happened that we didn't live too far away from each other either. And we just ended up jamming and just really, really had like incredible chemistry playing together, and as friends too. And so, we just kind of formed this thing, and we were like, yeah, like let's be a band. And then Brooke introduced me to Ashley.
Yeah, Ashley and I had actually met at School of Rock. We did a show together, and we hadn't actually talked for a couple of years, but Mariah and I were looking for a bass player. So I was like, I know someone. So then I called Ashley and we all got together. And as Mariah mentioned, like just the chemistry in the room was great. So
That's
It
really
really was.
Yeah, and then a few months later, they were looking for a lead guitarist, so they put out an ad through their management. And actually, I saw it on Instagram because Lizzie Hale had shared it, and I was super stoked about it because I had seen all of their videos online and stuff. And so the next day, I reached out to Surface and just introduced myself. And then a few weeks later, we started jamming, and it was just a great fit.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, I'm really amazed at the way social media can connect a lot of you, because I've been talking about having you guys on the Rock 30 for a while. Your fans are like, hey, LA Lloyd played Hate today on the Rock 30, and then Mariah hit me up, and I was like, oh man, I'd love to have you guys on. She's like, all right, let's work it out, go through the publicist. Here you are today. So tell me how important it is, not only getting someone like Lizzie Hale sharing something that helped you get in the band there, but just tell me how overall social media you guys treat it, because I know sometimes you can get a lot of trolls out there that wants to mess with you, but I think overall social media is still a positive thing. So how do you guys work with it?
Yeah, it's definitely a very positive thing. I think that it's an incredible tool, especially since we literally formed in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Right.
And that just simply would not have happened if it weren't for social media. It just wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So, and one of the big, huge factors in that was actually a cover that Brooke and I had released together in early
April it was.
Yeah, early April of last year, right before lockdown started, or right like in the middle or whatever. And that was really, really helpful too. That kind of really helped us get out there and help people to see us, and kind of just like blew up in a way that we didn't expect it to. And I really do believe, it's because people were all over social media, because it's like, what else were you going to do at the beginning of lockdown?
That's
So
exactly right.
Right. And so it really has been a tremendous, really helpful tool. And also getting to connect with the fans and the people too. So
Well,
I think it's very
absolutely.
important.
I got to think you're very pleased on the aspect of inspiring other musicians to pick up an instrument or, keep this thing going that we call rock when everybody keeps saying, oh, it's dead. And, you got to keep it alive and thriving. Have you heard from other aspiring musicians or maybe even parents of other musicians thanking you for, kind of motivating their kids to, go for it as well?
Yeah, I personally have received comments on social media from both parents and other people, and just saying, like, oh, I started drumming today because I saw your videos and stuff like that. And I listened to your band song. I love it. And it's inspired me to pick up guitar, bass, whatever. So those are definitely some of my favorite comments I get to see.
Yeah.
Super warms my heart.
Any of you got anything to
100%.
add to that?
I've
Oh,
seen a
yeah.
couple. Oh, go ahead, Bella.
Oh, thanks. I noticed when we posted the isolation cover, I started getting a bunch of comments like that of like, a bunch of people our age or parents reaching out, and even older people too, saying, just seeing like young kids with guitars is super cool to see, especially right now. And like it just like makes me super happy to see like, more kids are picking up guitars or drums or whatever it is and just getting into music.
Yeah. How about you, Ashley?
I think that the best thing that we can possibly do as musicians is encourage other young people and honestly people of all ages to just pick up and, pursue a passion that they might not know they even have. So just to like be in a position where other people can see what we're doing and maybe determine that they want to do something like that. And receiving comments on the band page even I've seen because we go through all those and we see them all. It's awesome. Like there's nothing that I'd rather see than that.
Well, that definitely leads
Yeah.
me into my next question because I have a daughter who started taking guitar lessons, kind of like the way you guys are talking about the School of Rock when she was 9. And as the classes kept progressing and they finally got to, the end of what everyone was doing at the top of the class, there were 4 people there in the top of the class for the recital. My daughter was one of them on guitar. And it was all girls. It was even the owner of the school was like, this is a first this has ever happened, but the top of the class was all 4 girls. And I hate to harp on that all female thing again, but to me, when I saw that and then I saw you guys, it kind of warmed my heart a little bit. And that's why I wanted to have you guys on the show today, because it really means a lot, I think, to a lot of people.
Thank you. And congratulations to your daughter, first off.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
I'll
really
de-
amazing.
Yeah, I'll definitely make sure she watches this video because I'm trying to keep her motivated because, from 9 to 16, you go through those phases like the guitar sits in the corner there for,
Yeah.
about 4 or 5 months. And then she gets excited about it and picks it up again. But I will have to say she's really into Zeppelin and Metallica and the Beatles and everything. She's all over the place. So what is some of the
awesome.
influences you guys have? I mean, with your parents, the music they played, was it classic rock? Was it hair bands? What did you guys have?
For me, I grew up on a lot of classic rock and hair bands. So some of my huge influences are like bands that made me want to start playing were like the Beatles, Kiss, like Motley Crue, Zeppelin. And then like my dad's a guitar player too. So like as I got older and more into playing, he started like showing me, artists like Joe Satriani and Steve Vai. And that definitely had a huge influence on my playing.
For sure. How about the rest of you guys?
I too grew up on a lot of 80s hair metal and classic stuff. And one of the bands that, well, actually no, the band that kind of inspired me to just really pick up a guitar at like 6 years old was Aerosmith. I loved Aerosmith. Joe Perry, there was just something about the way he played and Steven Tyler's voice. I just was like, 6-year-old me was just like, yeah, like I just love this. And so, that inspired me to really pick up a guitar first. And then at around 9 years old, I discovered that I could sing. And when it comes to vocal influences, my biggest influence by far was Amy Lee from Evanescence.
Wow.
Amy Lee from Evanescence, and then amazing people like Lizzie Hale, from Hailstorm followed after her, and so those are some of my biggest influences. I would say my top 3: Aerosmith, Evanescence and Hailstorm are probably my biggest influences.
Well, I'm glad you said that. Lizzie did this really nice video for me. She kind of did this thing, Who is L.A. Lloyd? And she talked about us going back to 2005. No one knew who they were. She comes up to me and says, hey, will you interview our band? Will you bring us on stage tonight? And I was like, hell yeah, totally will do that. And then all of a sudden I realized, what an amazing voice she had. And I just love to see that young, raw talent, with pipes like you have as well, Mariah, which I kind of wanted to talk about you being on The Voice at 16. I mean, you did this amazing version of Crazy on You by Heart. And I know you had to be just a bundle of nerves being up there on the national TV audience. But as you were singing, and Miley Cyrus turns around first in the chair, what's the first thing that goes through your mind? Because you still got to finish the song,
Yeah, so I really don't. I think the biggest thing that went through my mind was just relief, because I was like, okay, that's all I needed. It was just one. Like at least like I knew I was in, but then I just kind of closed my eyes and got through the rest of the song, and I kind of blacked out. I feel like at the end, like when we all have our teams picked out, we go through and watch our performances, like just kind of raw. No, the sound's not mixed and whatever, but we all just watch our performances. And every single one of us was like, that's really odd. I don't remember doing that at all, because we were just so nervous that we didn't remember anything.
Yeah.
But if there's one thing I remember when Miley turned around first, it was definitely just the feeling of, relief, and I can relax because, I'm in, I've made one team at least. So.
Well, I'll tell you, the thought that I had was when Miley turned around, I was like, obviously I could see you, I could tell you were young. And then the first one that goes around is Miley, who, has been doing this since she was practically a baby. So I thought that spoke volumes just of her doing that.
Yeah.
I had Chris Daughtry on the show about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
I love him.
We talked a little bit about American Idol, obviously, and The Voice. And the thing that I really took from the entire interview is he was talking about what a great outlet it is for these type of competition shows to get you out there, to get your face known, get your voice known or whatever. He was like, but, people who get on those shows and think they're going to be superstars as soon as they leave is completely ridiculous. So he was like, it's just the beginning. It's the hard work you really have to put into it after that show ends. So do you guys agree with that? And maybe talk about that philosophy a little bit.
100%. That's like one of the biggest things that I always talk about when it comes to those TV shows, and, specifically The Voice, because that's what I was on. But, I just remember feeling really sad for a lot of the contestants, because really a lot of people go into it thinking that this is like going to make or break their career. And they think that it's, they're going to become this big star, and it's just not true. They don't make stars. First of all, they don't really make stars anymore, in my opinion. The shows just don't. Yeah. But yeah, that's when the real work does start, is when you're done, because you can have all this exposure. That's the only thing, in my opinion, that makes it worthwhile. Well, one of the biggest things is the exposure. It helps lay a foundation for your career, and then you decide what you want to do with that exposure and, use it to your advantage. But yeah, you're pretty much like on your own once you're done with the show. So I couldn't agree more with that.
Well, we talked about the importance of social media earlier today on the Rock 30. And of course, one of those elements is YouTube or videos or wherever you may consume your videos. How important is, videos to you in regards to, do you need to do a video with, every single that you're going to be putting out in the future? Or is it just something you like to do or you hate to do? And all of you can kind of speak on your feelings on doing videos.
I think videos are fun. I think they're a really cool part of the creative process because they add something visual to something that would otherwise just be an audio experience, especially for the people that are like consuming the material that you're putting out. As for how necessary it is for everything, I'm not entirely sure. I know with the hate video, I think we all had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, good deal. So let's talk a little bit about the single Hate. I mean, obviously you listen to the lyrics, you understand it's about your heart getting broken, but then there's this thing deep down inside you that goes, yeah, but I still want him, and I hate the feeling that I still want this person that did me wrong. I mean, how many thousands, millions of people can totally relate to those lyrics? So, tell me a little bit more about this track from a personal standpoint, and when was it written? Has it been out there for a while, something you've had, or is this something that's kind of come during COVID?
The song, the lyrics were written maybe a couple of years ago, and it was basically the classic, heartbreak story. I had my heart broken by someone, and it's exactly what you just said, is you have all these feelings of hatred for the situation, and you're like, I hate what this person did. I hate, how you betrayed me. I hate this about you. I hate that about you. But I hate myself even more because I still love you.
Right.
So that's kind of that's really what it encompases and what it's about.
I guess Joan Jett said it also a long time ago. I hate myself for loving you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. 100%. The struggle is real.
It is. It is.
Fabulous.
I'm playing another band on the Rock 30 called Dead Poet Society. And from what I've heard, I haven't interviewed them yet, but they all went to Berklee College of Music. Now, Bella, I understand that you're going there now or thinking about going there. And didn't know if you knew those guys from Dead Poet Society or not, but maybe tell me about your experience at Berklee and why you decided to go there.
Yeah, that's super cool. I didn't know they went. I just finished my first year at Berklee and it was all online because of COVID, but I still had a great experience. I mean, I learned like a ton from just with like theory to like the business end of it to like, an intro to like audio engineering. And it's just like a great all around education. And a huge part of it too, I feel like I only hit the tip of the iceberg only being online, but it was great getting to network with so many like insanely talented musicians from all around the world. And I really loved that part of it.
So are you going to continue to try to do this, or is the band thing going to get in the way for a little bit? Because I know you guys are still working on your record, and obviously it's going to be on the road here, probably nonstop for a year or so. So how does that play, at least continuing with Berklee?
Yeah, my plan at the moment is I got like a bunch of the core classes done and stuff. And I'm gonna take like the fall and possibly the spring off as well, because we have, this really exciting tour that hopefully we'll get to announce soon. And then I'm just gonna kind of revisit from there. Like I'd love to go and, get a full music business degree. But at the same time, if I have the opportunity to just go out and make music with these wonderful people, I'm gonna do that first.
Can't blame you for that. Mariah, you talked about Amy Lee being a big influence on you earlier. She's out there talking about you guys on the radio and putting it out there on social media. Obviously it must be great for you, Mariah, since she's a big influence, but, and any of you guys can answer this question, but what do you think when you see a Lizzie Hale, write something about you on Instagram or an Amy Lee talking about you on the radio? How does that make you feel at this point of your career?
It's just, first of all, it's so weird. Like,
Yeah.
I can imagine.
It's so weird because growing up, like those two women right there, they were my heroes.
Yeah.
Because I didn't grow up with the Lita Fords and Joan Jetts, and I grew up with Amy Lee and Lizzie Hale.
Right.
That's what we grew up with. And being a young girl who I was in like a little kid band at the time or whatever, at like 10 or whatever. But I played guitar and I sang. And the last woman that I remembered, or that stood out prominently in my mind at that time that played guitar and sang was Joan Jett. So when I saw Lizzie Hale, specifically at like, maybe 12, I went to my first Hailstorm concert. A friend took me and I was like, this woman is just like the most badass, unapologetic person. And it inspired me so much. And same with Amy Lee. So it means so much more than I can even say, to hear them, give praise to our band. And it really gives, for me, personally, it gives me a sense of validation. Like, you know what? Okay, we're on the right track. Let's just keep doing this. So it's a really, really amazing feeling.
Anybody else have any experience? I mean, Lizzie is a badass, like you said,
Oh
and
my
she's
God.
one of the sweetest people I've ever known in my entire life. On top of being so
Yeah.
talented, it has not gone to her head at all. She is just a sweet person. But anyone
Yeah.
else got a story you'd like to share with any other person you admire that said something about the band?
Yeah, I mean, really similar to Mariah. When I was 11 or 12, and I remember within the same year, I saw Alice Cooper with Nita Strauss. And then I think like a few weeks after, I saw Hailstorm with the Pretty Reckless opening.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it totally opened my eyes because I didn't really have any like female influences at the time. And I was just like, oh my God, women are doing this too. Like, this is crazy.
Mhm.
And it's just crazy, a few years later, I mean, and she's talking about us like last weekend, right? Hearing like Amy Lee and Lizzie Hale talking about us on Octane. It was one of those moments where like I had to pinch myself, like, oh, wait a second, they're talking about us.
Right.
It's crazy.
How about you, Ashley? You got any bass superstar heroes you look up to? I mean, and it could be male or female. I mean, there's some really awesome bass players out there. Anyone that you really love their style?
I honestly don't know of many female bassists, to be honest, which is why I'm glad I'm in the position that I'm in, because there needs to be more of us. But I know you guys are out there, so. But as for my favorite bassist, I love Mike Starr from Alice in Chains. It's so sad that he's passed, but I grew up listening to Alice in Chains because of my dad, and my dad actually was in a band with Mike Starr.
Oh.
Also Paul McCartney, because you can't go wrong with McCartney ever.
That's a good bass player. He's wrote a couple songs.
A few.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
So I wanted to talk about, as we kind of start closing out the show today, I wanted to talk about the album. Obviously, we only have the single right now, and you're working with the legendary Johnny Kaye as your producer. I believe that's correct. If so, tell me about working with Johnny and what has he really maybe brought to the table and helped teach you guys while you're still kind of new to the recording process.
Yeah, working with Johnny has been incredible. He is like, I'm just so grateful because I've heard, we've all heard those horror stories of, people find a producer and then it's, they go in with their work and then they're like, okay, well, we're going to do this, this and that and blah, 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 blah. And, you're just like, okay, well, this isn't even the song that I wrote. So, working with Johnny was just really amazing. And he really, really shared the same vision, I think, as us and helped to bring it to life and helped to breathe life into the song itself. And one thing that I would say that was really helpful that I learned from Johnny is I get so caught up, like I'm like actually all of us are perfectionists, in the band. I can say that confidently and know that we just all are,
And that's a good thing. That's okay.
And yeah, but sometimes it causes me personally to get caught up in like, oh, this note wasn't this or this note wasn't that or blah, blah, blah. And Johnny's like, just do the song. Like, it's not, here's the thing, it's rock and roll. Don't worry about sounding pretty or sounding, super on pitch. Don't worry about that. Just sing it. Just sing it like you're yelling at the person that you wrote it about and stuff.
Right.
And that really, really helped me to kind of just let myself go and let my, worries go about sounding perfect and whatever, and like insecurities, and just kind of pour myself out in the studio and have it be the best product that could possibly be out there, so.
Yeah. That's great. Well, that
I
is
really love that about Johnny.
that's some great help and good advice for sure. Is there any month at least you could tell us about the potential album coming out, and any chance getting on that Evanescence and Hailstorm tour later this year? Wink, wink.
Man, that would be literally a dream.
You want me
Oh
to
my
put in a
gosh.
good word for you? You want me to call Lizzie and tell her to put you on that damn tour? You guys need to be on there. Come
Yo,
on.
that would be freaking sick. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, as far as like a month for the album, we don't have that right now. But we can definitely guarantee it within the year.
Well, good to
If
see
that's
that.
helpful.
And do you feel like you will be doing some tour dates before the end now that you know some of the venues are finally opening back and some tours are finally happening again? Do you think you might do some one-off dates or maybe a regional tour or something like that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Sorry, who said that? Who said that?
I did. We actually just announced a cruise gig today set for next year in February with Viragos. I think Rob Zombie, Chevelle, Mastodon, Tremonti, Bad Omens, Blackstone Cherry 2, among other
New
people are
Year's
going to be there.
Day.
Bunch of others.
We're so
Wow.
excited to be with
Yeah.
these people. Like, oh my gosh.
That is absolutely amazing. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you guys. Brooke, Ashley, Bella, Mariah, I've been wanting to get you on the Rock 30. You've overperformed again today, as I knew you probably would. So I wish you the best, and I'll definitely get you back on the Rock 30 maybe a little bit later on around the time the album comes out. And anything you'd like to say in closing today to the fans?
Thank you so much for supporting our single. It's really been a dream seeing it like go up the charts and everything.
100%. Thank you so much for all the support and the love and, just the like overwhelming positivity, it's pretty insane. So that's the number one message I would want to leave.
Yeah,
Awesome.
there's no words to describe any of this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it's good seeing you. I'm glad we were able to do this on Zoom so I could have all four of you here today, which is very cool. So again, thank you for being on the Rock 30 for your first time, which I'm sure we'll have you back several times. And what a great job you've done today, and good luck with the song.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.